What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Hope everybody's doing well and hope everybody's having a great week so far and hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. We got Michael and Layton here with Tuffy Talk here, discussing more of a fun topic today. I know that a couple of weeks ago, if not maybe a month or two ago, during the off season, there was actually a list that was getting put out in terms of listing the top 14 ACC football coaches in terms of ranking them. And I know that a lot of state fans, including myself, are very shocked to see Coach Dave Doran actually in like the 9-10, like the middle to lower end in the ranking. And it was definitely shocking to say the least. So I figured that, hey, what better time when bringing on Michael than to hear his thoughts in terms of ranking them. And then I'm actually going to sit here and react with you guys to the list that he puts together. So with that being said, before we get started, if you don't mind, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, as it really helps support us and the channel. Please like this video and check out all of our other great NC State content if you haven't already. And also, too, make sure to follow us at Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. So with that being said, Michael, so I guess we got to just go ahead and jump right into it. So who do you have at number 14? And then we'll head to 1. So we'll start with 14. Who you got?
Yeah, so we are recording this on Monday, September 6th. So we've had week 1 in the books. That may influence my list a little bit here, but
Slightly.
Yeah, at 14, I have Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech. I feel like he had a lot of hype coming in. He's kind of a younger guy, but that was like, he's been there. I think this is his third or fourth year. It kind of really seems he hasn't done much when it seemed like there was a lot of hype for him coming in. And with Jeff Sims, everybody was saying their quarterback, Jeff Sims, is going to be great. And really, we haven't seen that yet. This week they just lost to Northern Illinois. It's a tough loss. So that's probably why I have him last right now at 14.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and I think that in terms of Georgia Tech, obviously it's tough to, obviously they have big shoes to fill for sure, for any coach that would replace Georgia Tech. But also too, overall their team is still really young, so I definitely don't see by any means this necessarily putting Jeff Collins in the hot seat yet.
No,
but he's definitely close. Yeah. So just he needs to pick it up. Let's put it that way. Right. So, but hey, he even has had overall great recruiting classes, even stole one running back from us in Jemias Griffin, which obviously we're not too upset about, but definitely stung a little bit since he was originally committed to us. But yeah, definitely unproven, definitely seems to be pressing a lot of buttons throughout the ACC. I know he's pissed off state fans a couple of times, especially last year, but so I definitely am not too shocked about that, especially again after losing week 1 in Northern Illinois. Definitely doesn't seem like he had his guys prepared.
Yeah,
so
I think he may get an extra year or two just because he's changing the way that program has always been run from triple option to totally spread option, or basically spread option that they're running. And so I don't think he's on the hot seat at all. I just don't think he's really done what they would hope he could have accomplished by now.
Not by now, yeah. So number 13, well, who you got?
I got Dino Babers at Syracuse at 13. It's tough. Obviously, Syracuse is a heavy basketball school, so any coach going in there is going to have a tough time. But I feel like he was also one when he got hired that had a lot of hype too, saying, Syracuse has had some decent players in the past. He did have that. They beat Clemson that one year, that one big upset. But they've been consistently bottom 2 in the ACC in the last couple of years. So,
yeah. Well, and and I'm actually, and now that you actually bring up Dino Babers, I'm actually surprised that he is not last, just because of the fact that he is truly on the hot seat and truly. I guess I do kind of understand why maybe put him at 13, because he has had signs of greatness. Right. Obviously having a 10-win season, upsetting Clemson in 2017, which was a huge win. But yeah, unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to do much since, and it just definitely seemed like that. Basically, Syracuse had a great quarterback that Dino basically rode off of. And, now you're kind of seeing without that he's definitely struggling. But it's again, just like you said, Syracuse is a basketball school. So I just don't know if Syracuse athletics will ever truly invest enough in football to really make them dominant or really competitive in the ACC. But who knows? We'll see. I mean, they gave Dino Babers a pretty nice sizable contract extension back in 2018. So I mean, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I agree with you that between Dino and Jeff, that bottom two for sure.
Yeah.
So who you got number 12?
12. This one, I have Scott Satterfield at 12, which maybe I don't know what your reaction there is going to be, but I feel like he, I have him there just because I don't know if it was last year or the year before. He had that one quote where he said he picked Louisville because it's close to the airport, and that like if the NC State job came open or something, he basically said he would leave Louisville like immediately. He had no like really loyalty to the school, which was kind of weird because they had just hired him recently.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think he's done terrible on the field. It just it doesn't feel like he's all in at Louisville. Kind of looking to go somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's definitely one of those things that it's definitely one of those things like when I kind of think of like Eli Drinkwitz kind of situation where Eli, he went to App State to be the head coach and he was like, oh no, like, I didn't come here just to puddle jump. I came here to build a program and to be committed to App State. And then not even a couple months later, he jumps ship and goes to Missouri. And which, I mean, I get because, I mean, you got to ride the wave. And if somebody's offering a lot of money, I get it. But with Scott Satterfield, I feel like that you're already competing in the ACC. You're not like you're competing in a program that has a solid football program with, I mean, obviously just coming off of Lamar Jackson. And so, it's not like this is a crap job. Yeah. It's a solid job in a great market in a great area. And so I don't really understand necessarily why he's trying to jump. But I mean, he has his reasons, but yeah, I mean, I definitely agree that, but in terms of like actual as a coach, I don't think that we've seen enough yet from him to necessarily judge him fully as a coach. Right. But I understand that in terms of when it comes to Louisville, there's definitely some missing pieces there for sure. I agree with on that. So, Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flightland's Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flightland's Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flightland's Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flightlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. So, all right, number 11, who you got?
11, I have Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech.
Ooh.
Obviously, he had a big win Friday night against UNC, but he's, I think, the name, at least Power 5 conference, that has come up the most as he'll be the first Power 5 coach to be fired this year. Obviously, things may change a little bit. Virginia Tech looked pretty good Friday night against UNC. But overall, his whole tenure has not been good at Virginia Tech.
No. Well, and if we had Macon on here, I know that he would definitely mention it because he's mentioned a couple different times in terms of how it's been clearly obvious from talking to multiple Virginia Tech fans that it's clear that they're not happy with what Justin Fuente has done so far, taking over for a legend in Frank Beamer.
Yeah, that's always hard to do.
But yeah, again, it's the same thing for like whoever's going to replace Coach Bowden, whoever's going to replace like in basketball, like a Coach K or Roy Williams. It's like, at the end of the day, that to expect the same or better from the next coach is just unreasonable. But definitely, I think that with Fuente, one of the biggest things, which I actually think is kind of starting to kind of put a lot more pressure on him, is really the increase in Bronco Mendenhall and Virginia, which I know that we'll probably bring up. And because, I mean, they're now a solid football program, solid. And I mean, they beat Virginia Tech for the first time in many years, a couple years ago. And so, I mean, I think the last thing Virginia Virginia Tech fans want, especially when they are huge football fans. I mean, even though basketball program is solid, they are
Oh
football
yeah,
all the way.
definitely.
The last thing they want to do is fall behind or even fall even with Virginia. They always want to stay ahead, period. So I definitely think that the Virginia Tech game that they looked good, but I also think that honestly, it's a quote that Russell Westbrook gave a reporter a hard time on, but I truly do think that it was more of UNC losing the game rather than was Virginia Tech winning the game. I
Yeah,
just feel like that it was because I mean, first quarter Virginia Tech looked great, but then after that, it wasn't
yeah,
looking as good, and so they kind of fell off. And there was multiple different opportunities for UNC to take advantage, and so but again, hey, big win. He found a way to win, which is awesome. It's definitely going to at least get him another year or two. I feel like just that win by itself, in my opinion. But it's a long season,
yeah.
so
And it could lose the
but
rest of the games, and then who knows?
yeah, I mean, if he doesn't make it to a bowl game, we might have to have a conversation. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way.
I could. Yeah, I would say if they don't make it to a bowl game this year, if they don't, especially if they don't beat Virginia and they don't make it to a bowl game, I think he'll definitely be gone. But who knows?
That would be tough, but yeah. So anyway, so who you got next? What number are we on now?
10.
We're on 10. That's right. So what we got?
10, I have Mike Norvell at Florida State. I will say
Mhm.
he's probably got the most room to move up the list very quickly. Obviously, Florida State has been a powerhouse program in the ACC and in college football nationally too. They have they have the resources to be a top 5 team every year. They played
Oh yeah.
They played well Sunday night against Notre Dame. They ended up losing in overtime, but
Mm-hmm.
they look pretty good there. So I have him at 10, but he's
Yeah.
definitely one that's trending up where the bottom 4 were probably trending down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, because Mike, he's also a guy that basically got brought in from Memphis, if I'm not mistaken,
Yep.
and definitely showed a lot of promise. But then it's still a shot. It's not necessarily by any means that he's proven and was and he's going to translate right on over to Florida State and win. Now, I do think that he was smart and definitely huge. Hats off to him on getting a guy like Mackenzie Milton.
Yeah.
Who is? I mean, I think I saw he finished like 6th or 7th in the Heisman voting in 2018
At UCF,
during one of his last years at UCF, and so he's a great talent for sure. And he looked at yesterday as well. He's a great player, and he's a guy that can be a leader, and he's a guy that also too is motivated, and also too that fans and the media will follow.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, there will be a ton of national media, like even like the Kirk Herbstreits, the Reese Davises, you name it, that will follow Florida State specifically just to follow Mackenzie Milton because his story is amazing.
Yeah.
And he's a great player. And so I definitely think it was a smart move in terms of bringing in a great quarterback that he can really throw in for his final year and, could definitely do some wonders, at least get to a bowl game for the first time in some time for Florida State and, kind of use that to kind of build the recruiting back up. And so, because I mean, they have, just like you said, the money, they have the tradition, they have the fan base, they have the stadium. So, I mean, they have it all. It's just a matter of bringing in the right guy. And, you definitely look back at, the previous coach who came from Oregon and then previously from USF, and I'm blanking on his
Willie
name,
Taggart.
but yeah, Willie Taggart. Yes, that's right, Willie Taggart. And at the end of the day, you just got to find the right guy. Got to be patient. Let us find the right guy. And so maybe Mike is the guy. But just like you said, we'll see for sure.
Yeah.
This is going to be a big season for him if he can pull it off. So yeah. So he got number 9.
Number 9, I have David Cutcliffe at Duke. Duke's weird because obviously they're never gonna be a powerhouse in the ACC in football. But before Cutcliffe, I mean, they were consistently 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins max. And this year and last year were not so great, but before that, the couple of years before that, he had them competing in the Coastal I think they won the Coastal one year. I forget which year, but
2013.
Yeah. So, I mean, at Duke, also obviously basketball school, I think he's done pretty well. I mean, I have him right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like this is actually kind of one guy, because I know when the first rankings came out, they had him like at fourth or fifth, something like that.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of fans were like, okay, we're not talking about best head coaches that are also offensive coordinators. Like,
Yeah.
we're talking about head coaches. And because, I mean, he has an offensive coordinator. He's one of the best. And he also even worked a ton with the Manning brothers, which I'm sure maybe had a part of the drive for putting him so high as well. But I would even say maybe a lot of fans, including myself, maybe look at him and think of him as, what, number 9 on the list? Is that what where you're on, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay. And at 9, I mean, there's a lot of fans maybe say, maybe that's a little high. I mean, just because of the fact, just like you said, I mean, and again, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Either way, uh, since 2013, basically, where they won the Coastal Division and they had their big year, he hasn't done much since.
Yeah.
Now, again, there is a soft spot for me in my heart for Cutcliffe because of the fact, just like you said, Duke has never gotten and will never get the backing from the athletics or from the fans for football. So it's like you're doing the best with what you got. I mean, you're trying to at least compete against Carolina every year, which is a big thing for Duke. But it's just like, what do you expect? If you're not investing the big bucks, then you're not going to get big results.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. And so, and that's kind of something that even I think Dorn really had to come in for football and really had to push is, then we got to invest in facilities. We got to invest in uniforms. We got to invest in upgrades to get the big recruits, to get, more support. Like that's how it works. And I just don't see Duke ever doing that. So that's kind of my pushback is I think as a coach, if he was in a different situation, maybe a different school, he would maybe have a different storyline. But yeah, definitely being that we were recording this after week 1 and he just lost at UNC Charlotte. It's just like, I mean, poor guy. I mean, that's what I'm saying is it's not like a get him out of here kind of thing. Cause again,
he's doing the best
it's kind of like
and I feel like anyone
he's doing the best he can.
Duke. Yeah.
Right. In a football program. It's just like, we're not talking about Steve Spurrier here. We're talking about, a great offensive coach that came in and is doing the best of what he's got. I mean, hey, he gave him some bright times with Daniel Jones and, even back when they had Jamison Crowder as well, which I mean, I had to kind of remind myself that he used to play for Duke. I'm like, yeah, that's right. He played for Duke. And so, I would definitely agree that I think your 9 or 10 spot would be kind of where I would put him as well. But with a heavy heart, because I just unfortunately just don't see him being around for too much longer. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully. I'm cheering for him. So now jump into number 8. Who do you got?
8, I have Bronco Mendenhall. We talked about him when we were talking about Fuente. Obviously, he's another one like Norvell, definitely trending up on the list. He's got Virginia, and with building a decent team and program there, like we said, they beat Virginia Tech for the first time in however many years it was. I forget who they played this week, but they absolutely destroyed them. I think he definitely has the opportunity to move up quickly on this list as well.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he's somebody who, and again, who knows? I don't even remember who they played either, but yeah, it was a Joe Schmo. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, he's somebody that, again, I think that is finally bringing some excitement and a definition to the Virginia football program that they've been looking for. Because I even remember back, I think it was maybe back in the early 2010s, that they had actually gotten 2 big recruits at the same time. Were both 5 stars. One was a defensive tackle, if I'm not mistaken. One was a safety. And they were basically just 2 local guys that said, hey, let's go to Virginia together and let's change the program. And even they weren't able to really do much, definitely not beat Virginia Tech, and which is a big step for them. And so for Bronco Mendenhall to come in so quickly and to put his guys in and to pull off a huge, definitely check mark for the Virginia fan base and beating Virginia Tech, even at Virginia as well. And even too after this, still being competitive with Virginia Tech on a year-to-year basis. It's not like he had a one-year wonder and that's it. Like, he's been competitive with Virginia Tech since, which is huge, which is great for the fan base. That's all they really want. I mean, let's be real. They're not looking for ACC titles because they love their basketball program, which definitely is one of the best. But yeah, I mean, he has done a great job so far, especially coming from a school like BYU. Definitely, hats off to him. But because I think they actually in the previous list had Bronco ranked higher than Doran, which that was, I think, a huge red flag for myself and a lot of State fans in terms of saying, I mean, I feel like Bronco had a great quarterback that came in that was a dual threat.
Oh yeah.
And I just don't really know if you could necessarily say from his few years of Virginia that he's a great coach, because I think you need to see him going through multiple sets of personnel, multiple sets of quarterbacks to make sure it's not just, hey, Chuck Amato, Phillip Rivers, not hating on Chuck Amato whatsoever, but just saying that, I mean, his brightest years by far were when Phillip Rivers was there.
Yeah.
And so same thing, you don't want to make sure that, just like with Dino Babers, that it's not just that his brightest years are from one quarterback. It's period, which it definitely seems like it is. So we'll definitely see. But yeah, definitely happy with that. So thank you all so much again for tuning in. So that's our 8 through 14. So we got number 8. So go through them, Michael. 8 through 14.
So 8 was Bronco Mendenhall, 9 David Cutcliffe, 10 Mike Norvell, 11 Justin Fuente, 12 Scott Satterfield, 13 Dino Babers, 14 Jeff Collins.
Yep. So make sure to tune in on Thursday as we unveil our number 1 through number 7 and continue this discussion. Thank you all so much, and as always, go Pack.